Hello, hello, ladies. Thank you for being on the Change After 40 podcast. I am Anisha, the host, and we have Jessica and Rose with us today. We're going to be talking about, let's talk about education. And ladies, give a little bit about your background and what you do. And we're going to talk about your business that you both are partners in.
Roz, would you like to start?
Sure. My name is Roz Jackson. I am a co-founder of the Agile Mind. I'm also a teacher in the classroom. I've been teaching for over 17 years. I teach middle school science. Being a teacher in education is like a passion, just to make sure that the students are they're excited about learning. They know the importance of it, and they want to be engaged and challenged every day. That's my goal.
That's awesome. That's a lot of kids need that. So
absolutely.
Yes. Go ahead, Jessica.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you for having us on. My name is Jessica Cavallero. I am a government teacher, a social studies teacher in middle school, which I love. I have been the kind of teacher always that was more focused on the skills that we're giving our kids, the real world skills, and how we can embed them in the curriculum so that kids can take those skills and transfer them outside of the content areas and to their lives. So I have always been pushing problem-based, project-based learning, design thinking, and in the last 2 years with the pandemic, Roz and I found Agile, which is a software development protocol, and we implemented it in our classroom, which had profound effects for our students and really was able to embed those 21st century skills that we need for our students in the upcoming economy. And so that's what we're really focused on, is trying to make sure students have the skills to be successful out of 12th grade instead of having to take out mountains of debt to be viable in the job market in the future.
Absolutely.
Wow. Awesome. So I wanted to talk about this. Let's talk about education, because, education in today's society is like a little different than me, from when I went to school, my parents went to school. This generation is totally different. And then I have a 9-year-old, and the way that she's learning is totally different versus than me, the way that I learned. And I hear a lot of teachers talk about the parent participation. And I just, and I'm one of those, I don't know if me and my husband are like one of those over participating parents. And because we want to know everything that goes on with our child in school. And sometimes I feel like the teacher, I may get on her nerves. And I'm like, okay, they want us to participate. They want us to be engaging. And then I talked to another friend of mine that's a school teacher. She's like, it's not that. It's just the parents that needs to be involved. Those are the parents that we want and we can't get. So can you, either one of you or both of you, talk about that? Like, how can a parent really, really participate, and what type of participation do you want from the parents? If you want to talk about it.
Go.
Okay. Definitely. As a teacher and a parent, you can feel both sides of that. I do feel like all teachers, we definitely want parental involvement. We want parental support, I think is important. I have no problem, like every teacher is not like me, but I would just use myself as an example. I have zero problem inviting parents into my classroom and just having them pop up. I have zero problem with that, because if you are a teacher that's encouraging students to do what they need to do to succeed, to encourage them, to have them be a part of what is going on in the classroom. I apologize for what's
It's
going
fine.
on
This is a
behind me.
podcast, so it's not that strict part. I have a little one. You may hear her in the background. So this is okay. We are real
Okay.
parents and individuals. Okay.
I apologize for that. But you, as a teacher, you want to make sure that, like I said before, your children are engaged. They are being a part of the classroom. So I'm not up lecturing for 40 minutes in the classroom. So I want the parents to actually come in, see how their students are acting, see how they are engaging with other students, see how they are conversing and talking with their peers. I like when the parents sneak up and they come in and then their students see them and then all of a sudden the behavior changes. That is a good thing. I like to see them interacting and actually helping their peers if someone has a question and then they can see them actually helping a classmate through it. That is a good thing. So you want to encourage that kind of behavior. I think what is a little bit tricky is when parents try to teach the subject for you. And that can be a little tricky, but not all parents are like that. I do think that as educators, the training that we went through, the training that we even do additionally for ourselves as you're teaching your course and your content and learning how to even implement that effectively through appropriate like learning strategies for students, that requires a level of skill. It requires a lot of time. It requires a lot of dedication. And I think what teachers appreciate is when parents appreciate and support that kind of effort that you pour into your classroom, and they try to help you facilitate that and not necessarily try to tell you how they would do it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It makes sense. It makes a lot of sense because I have to, like, when my daughter comes home with homework, and I may not, even though she's in third grade is totally different than from when I went to school. There, I may not understand the homework like how the teacher explained it to her. So I have to say, okay, I need to contact your teacher to see exactly how she's teaching it so you can learn the way that she's teaching it, because I don't want to tell you something the way I was taught and it's totally, wrong. So it teaches your kid to respect, how can I say, respect not to go over step your boundaries. Don't go over. Go to the source, straight to the source to get the information. Don't overstep. So it teaches them to respect you as the teacher also, because as the parent, I need to contact you to see how we need to do it so we can all be on the same page, so we can all work together, because at the end of the day, we're a team. And when my child is in your hand, you're the parent. So that's how I look at it. But a lot of parents don't look at it that way. And I respect teachers because I applaud you guys because you go through a lot. And the ones that is really dedicated to it, I really appreciate it, because these kids are really suffering with different things. They see so much in the household until I couldn't imagine going through some of the stuff that some of these kids go through on a day-to-day basis. Jessica, do you have anything to input to say?
I was just going to say that the biggest thing a parent can do to help a student is to value education at home. And that doesn't mean that you have to be a rocket scientist and read the encyclopedia to your child at home. It just means that you have to value education or value the path that they're on in terms of education. So if it's valued at home, the student comes to school having a reverence for it and knowing that it's important for their life, because really, we're not there because life torture children, that we want to make sure they have a better future, right? So we're there to deliver lessons to make sure that they have a better future. If the parents at home say like, hey, listen to Miss Jackson and listen to Miss Cavallero, they're trying to help you. That's really what we need. And to be contacted by parents to say, hey, how did you teach us? Or, I don't understand. I honestly don't understand how to do the new math processes. My son has to explain them to me. And and that's okay. But
Yes.
I don't sit there and go, "You're teaching wrong." I go like, "Okay, this is new. Teach me how." And a funny thing is that the highest level of learning is teaching others. So if your son or daughter can come to you, and this is how we learned how to multiply today, and they can show you, it shows real mastery of the subject instead of just like, no, that's not how we do it anymore. They're showing you mastering it, so you should be applauding them and being like, I am so proud of you for being able to come home and show us, and you must be doing a really great job in school. And that just supports the whole system. So that brings down behavioral problems. It just makes us a cohesive system, which is what we're supposed to.
That's cool. That's, sorry to cut you off. That's funny that you say that it brings down behavior problems, because a lot of kids do have behavior issues, or they be, whatever the diagnosis may be, in the way that you teach it so they can understand. And it's a young lady that's on Instagram. I don't want to say her name, but she teach math to in a way that, as a game, like a basketball game, for the kid to understand. And I was just like, you have to be really passionate and dedicated as a teacher to come up with those techniques for the child to understand the math, because a lot of kids don't learn the same. A lot of kids don't comprehend the same. So you have to come up with different ways to get them to learn. So, wow, yeah. So that goes where you have to I guess that would be like motivating education. Like, you, as a teacher, you got to go home and figure out, or try to, okay, so how can I get Susie to do her timetables? How can I get her to read?
And I do want to add one thing about that too. What you're saying is so key, because that happens real time, all the time, all day in class as well. So it's not just the preparation that we're doing, at home at night, on the weekends, during vacation time. Because teachers, we get it, but we really don't. So we're working over the summer, you're working over break at times, thinking about that student that didn't get that lesson, thinking about that class. And most educators know that class after lunch is always the fun one, because they're ready to go home. And quite frankly, sometimes so are you. So trying to reach those students that are not focused, the ones in your class that maybe didn't have anything to eat that day, the ones in the class where a sibling might be having problems, or a family member is gone, whatever it is. There are, the same way that we have problems outside of our jobs and outside of our teaching, so do they. And so the thing is that it's not just about the lesson. It's about how you are relating to them first. So you have to build that relationship to be able to reach them, to know why Johnny is looking a certain way today. And you know what? Maybe he can't process enough to get that lesson you need. Maybe he just needs to know that you are there and it's okay. And then that way, the next time you can have him get that lesson. And I think having parents and teachers have that kind of relationship where you can communicate those types of things, you can share those types of things. Like you said, you can call the teacher and ask about the lesson, to say, hey, I know this is how we're teaching it. I don't want to mess up what you're doing. Can you walk me through it? I can have those kind of phone calls all day, because your goal as a teacher is whatever you need to do for the students. Always.
Yeah. And then, as a parent, our goal is to make it easy on you too. If I know my child is a difficult child, and I'm going to speak for me, because my child does have ADHD. She's very hyper. So guess what? I go the extra mile to tell the teacher, hey, she's coming in a little too off the wall today. So if you're having some issues, or don't hesitate to call me and I will come and pick her up. Because guess what? You have 18 other kids in the classroom. This one child is going to disrupt the whole class. So everybody else's kid is not going to be able to learn. And then, a lot of people say, Nisha, but why would you take her out? Because you already don't know that's a lot of pressure on the teacher. She's only one person. And you guys have personal lives, you have things too. So you don't want to overwhelm. You got, the teacher with this one kid where the parent is saying, hey, I will come and pick her up. Just send me the homework, send me the classwork, and we'll do it at home. And the teacher says to me all the time, oh my God, I wish I had more parents like you, like that's willing to. And I said, what, I will even sit in the office because guess what? I want to make it easy for everyone,
Mm-hmm.
And if any parent that's listening to this, and I know things are different. Everybody's going through a lot. We've been through the pandemic over 2 years now. That's a lot of stress within itself. And so if you can help by reaching out to the teacher and saying, hey, what can I do to make your life a little bit easier while my child is in your hand? And when my child is home, we can go over certain things. I just think we all, as parents, we need to work with the teachers, and we're a team. It's like a marriage.
Yeah.
It's almost like a marriage. Like my child
Yeah.
is in your hand for however many days out of the year, and we need to work this out together so we can all be on the same page, so we can all get the high score at the end of the year. So that's how I see it.
Yeah, we're supposed to be a system, and our focus should always be on the child. And so it's your child and one of ours during the day, and we're supposed to be working collaboratively to make sure that they get the best experience that they can.
Mm-hmm.
That's the goal at the end of the day, right? Is to make sure
exactly.
that our students learn and that they're happy and that they're safe. And that's, when you boil it all down, that's all we want for our kids.
Yes,
exactly.
So talk about your program that you guys have. And I think it's very interesting. And I was talking to my husband about it. I was like, oh, maybe we should look into this for the summer for my daughter. That can help her out with certain things, and it makes it like your program looks like it's fun to make it interesting to kids to learn, to make them want to learn, and they can use it for later in life. That's the awesome part of the whole program. So talk about it so other parents can hear about it.
Jessica, go for it.
We, over the pandemic, when we were hybrid teaching, or we started distance teaching, obviously, and we noticed that our kids, especially middle school kids, really had issues connecting with other kids when they weren't in school. And so a main component to us that jumped out was the social connection that kids needed. And looking around, we found something called Agile, which was created in the early 2000s for the software industry. And this was for developers that would create software, and they needed to do it more efficiently with higher levels of communication. And so it grew, and it was so popular that international teams now work and build software together in different time zones, and yet they work together and they collaborate and they communicate, and they're able to do this. So if our students are half in the classroom and half at home or wherever they are, why can't they do this? Kids learn so much faster than adults do. So we brought it into the classroom and started teaching our kids this. So our kids learned how to make their own teams. They led their own teams in learning. They learned how to break down big projects into small, doable pieces. They learned how to move the pieces together on what's called a Kanban board, but it's a basic visual organizational system where they said, okay, today we're going to do this, tomorrow we're going to do this, we're going to hand it into the teacher here. So they had to communicate with each other about it so no one was left out. They all had to use empathy. They had to use problem solving. So it's all of these skills that we talk about in the future workplace, or even the current workplace, is that AI is working and it's automating all the easy stuff, right? So we can't do easy things anymore. The skills that are necessary to be competitive are the skills that are human. So that's problem solving, it's empathy, it's critical thinking, it's creative thinking. And so where is this in our modern curriculum? It's not. No. So we need to find ways to teach these skills, because these are the skills of success, not knowing what year George Washington crossed the Delaware, that can be, problem solving is a skill that needs refinement. And so what we did is we worked with an organization called leaf.org, which is so fantastic, is that kids that go through our system can earn blockchain-based micro-credentials for the work that they do. And so that is not like a fancy certificate we give you at the end that we printed out. It's a certificate that will follow you through life like a college degree. So you can put that on because we're talking about giving kids skills out of 12th grade. That's where we want kids, is be able to enter the job market without debt. So through our program, we have one program, which is basic student flow, which teaches kids how to organize their life, how to manage things, how to break down big tasks, how to communicate with others. We do this in cohorts so the kids can teach each other, because we just mentioned that the highest level of learning is teaching others. We have another system called the improvement kata, where kids can set really big goals. This is for kids that want to do something really ambitious, or they need to figure out where to go to college or what to major in, something like that, where they can go through and set really big goals and then find small incremental ways to make it to that goal by experimentation. So it builds a reflective practice, so that they learn how their metacognitive skills, how to think about thinking, so they can refine these things. And so we have both of these systems for students and for adults. And we even teach teachers how to bring this into their classroom. So that kind of gives us a whole view of
that's awesome.
Our improvement kata looks like that. Is how do we help these skills come into the classroom on all different levels?
Exactly.
Wow, that's mind blowing, because and you said something about by the time they're graduated from 12th grade, they could graduate with a skill and not have debt, have to go to college. Of course, you want them to go to college, but college is not made for everyone. So if they can go to school, high school, and it be interesting enough to set them up for becoming an adult and already graduate with the skill, how awesome is that? Like, that is just powerful within itself. And how, like, that should be something that the school system should just automatically do. Like, if this program is like working for kids to get them going and keeping them in school, keeping their mind going and keeping them engaged and motivated to do it, like, why wouldn't they want to just like have this program in the school system? I know I'm just
great question. Great question. But honestly, along the line with the question you asked, that's the question that we had when we experienced this program for ourselves, and we introduced it to our students, and we saw the amount of gains they were able to do, the work that they were able to accomplish, not just with the content, but again, with the skills that they learned with collaborating and working together in communication. A lot of that, and how you said how they will graduate with these sort of skills that will follow them and they'll be able to get jobs. So more importantly with that, the way that our educational system is set up now, there's internships, there's community projects that they can do, there's problem solving that can happen before they even graduate high school. So the thing is, if you're looking for that summer job, if you're looking for that internship, if you're trying to get college credits early, these are things that you can put on your digital portfolio, which is a huge thing that schools do now. You have this on your digital portfolio. There are students that we know that are middle school and high school age, that they have LinkedIn profiles, that they're putting this information, that they're getting that training there now. Because and so this is how you're able.
The ACTs. So how are you going to college? Like our kids, your daughter is did you say 9?
9.
Okay, my son is 7, and Roz's daughter is 7 as well. So when our kids go to school, they're not going to be taking a test. They're not going to be taking the SATs. They're going to be presenting their digital portfolios.
Exactly. So you can train your kids for how to communicate with each other, how to communicate within the 4 walls of their classroom, then how to communicate with people beyond the 4 walls of the classroom, with other peers their age, with other adults, with other people in organizations. You can teach them, like, within their community, when they start collaborating and they're empathizing with others, they can solve their own problems within their community. They can connect with others that can help them solve and address problems within their communities. Those are the skills that we are trying to have them cultivate. It's a big deal. And yes, it's a very important question that you're asking. Why aren't there schools doing this? And that's why we are trying to, one classroom, one teacher at a time, to make sure that we expose them to this opportunity. And the bottom line is, we know it works. Companies in the United States spend billions of dollars to be able to teach employees about agile methodologies for how to do it. And your students can learn it now.
And a starting salary for an agile or a scrum project manager is about $120,000 a year.
Well,
So
sign me up.
Right.
Sign me up. Sign me up. I'll do it. Sign me up. I would.
To be able to learn these things and start with your entry level job is over $100,000. You know, we're not talking about small jobs out of college.
Yeah.
We're talking about, we really want to prepare you for a world in which you need flexible thinking. Every job is going to need these skills.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter what you want to be, a graphic designer, if you want
You're
to be
gonna
an
need it.
entrepreneur. It doesn't matter what you want to be. You're going to need these because
Exactly.
the world is demanding of our kids.
Yes.
And
Like my daughter, she likes
every
coding.
industry is doing it.
Yes, she's
Exactly.
into coding, and I said, how did you learn to do that? Because you're not taking the course on that. Oh, I watched a YouTube thing and it taught me. Like, yeah, like wow.
They're learning. They're learning it. And so these are the kind of skills that help them do it.
Sorry to cut you off. Let me ask a question. Have you, or is it in the plan to do like a workshop to invite teachers, other educators to like maybe do like a PowerPoint presentation or a presentation period to other teachers outside of your actual school about this program?
Yes, we were going to do a LinkedIn conference. So if you want to see artifacts of learning from our classroom, if you're like, these ladies are crazy and I don't believe you, you can go to our blog and see the artifacts of learning. The things that our middle school students have produced are phenomenal. So you can see the actual pictures. But yes, we've done several speaking engagements. And Roz, we were about to plan a LinkedIn event so that we can talk and kind of share this information. Teachers are just in a very tough spot right now, feeling very burnt out. And you know, there's a lot of conflict going on in our industry. So teachers feel like this is not another thing that they want to add on. And the key piece that we want to say to teachers is that this is not something that you add on. It's not another thing that you do.
You can implement this into your
teacher, your life becomes so much easier. It becomes fantastic because the ownership of learning stops being from you. So it stopped me being in control to the kids are control. And then I can go around to small groups and I can talk to your daughter that has ADHD, and I can talk to Johnny over there that didn't get enough sleep last night. And I can do all the things that teachers really love to do, which is building those relationships and working with the kids in small groups and individually. And it takes the pressure off of your shoulders. Like you go back to loving your job again because it's organic and intrinsic again. And so it's not another thing to do. It almost, when you bring this in, it takes things off of your plate instead of putting more on your plate.
And the thing is that you as a teacher, I mean, all of us know you're going to lesson plan. You have certain standards you have to meet. There's certain curriculum targets you need to hit. So it's not like this stops lesson planning. It's not like, you know, okay, the kids are doing it, you kick up your feet and you just watch. And so you're scared if your principal or administrator is going to come in. That's not this. Okay. What happens is you're
say that part again so they can understand that. Say that part again.
Yes, it's not, it doesn't mean that, you know, that you're relaxed. What it means is you actually have time, like Jessica said, to do what you actually got into teaching to do, to connect with students. So you're still going to do your plans when you're using Agile in your classroom, organize those plans, that favorite project you want to do, when you're going to do that assessment, the type of assessment maybe that you want to do, all the different activities that are cool that the kids love and you have fun with them every year, you're still going to do that. But the thing is, you are almost allowing the students to have like a buffet of those lessons. And then they get to pick and choose when they're ready, how many times they want to look at it, when they want to look at it, when they want to do that kind of activity, when they're ready to start that project. They get to choose when they're doing it. So you're not up in front of them for 30 minutes trying to force the lessons into their head. Like Jessica said, if that student didn't get enough sleep last night, you know what? Give them that few minutes and then they can go back because maybe I've pre-recorded this lesson when they wake up, then they can go listen to that lesson. And the students that are your high flyers in the class, they've done the reading already, they've listened to the video, they can move on to the project because they're ready. But if you have that kind of classroom environment where every student knows, no matter where you are, it's okay, because I'm going to help facilitate so that we all get to the same spot, to that same goal, that same finish line at the end for whatever that success is for us, then okay, somebody's over here working on the project. Great. So now I get to have Ms. Jackson by myself, and we're going to make sure that I understand this concept. So your classroom is running to a point where it's effective for all students. So that term that some of us used to be afraid of is about differentiated instruction. It's actually happening in your classroom.
See? But you know, we're afraid of the new technology, the new world. It is what it is. It's going to be the new.
It's not going back.
Kids are already into video games and always on the computer and everything else. So let's make it fun. You know, not fun because everything is not about being fun, but if they can relate to it and they being engaged into it, like let's do it. Like what's, you know.
Why can't you make Shakespeare into a video game? Do you still understand it? Can you still use similes and metaphors in it? Can you still use the correct terminology in it? If you can still understand the play, why can't you make it into a video game?
Exactly.
LOB is a video game. Like, let's think about that. So like it has to be engaging because it has to be brought to the level. And a lot of times we are like, oh, well, the kids today aren't like the kids used to be. Of course they're not. They're living in a completely different time period. We need to bring education to them, and making Othello into a video game is not a bad idea. They'll be engaged. They'll know it better than we know it.
Wow.
They absolutely will.
I love it. So is the program designed for elementary kids too? Students or just?
Absolutely. We can adapt it to, and the great thing about this is because it's agile, which means that it's kind of adaptive and flexible, we can fix it to personalized for families. So we can teach family agile. So how do you run your household in a way that their kids do their chores and you have great communications instead of yelling at each other about it? We can do things like that. So it's kind of you reaching out to us and telling us what your goals are. We can put you in a cohort with similar goals because things work better collaboratively usually. And then working on those goals with you, your student, your child, however it works. My 4 and 7-year-old run their own Kanban board on the wall. They use Post-its and they pull it across the board to keep track of what they need to do. So, you know, we have an online version so we can run online classes as well. So there's lots of different ways that we can facilitate this learning, and the skills that are developed within it are not like, you're not going to wake up one day and be like, oh, I'm agile, but it's a mindset, and it's a flexibility in your thinking that develops and is refined over time.
Wow. So could parents do this with their kids over the summer?
Absolutely.
So if I was interested for my for my daughter for over the summer, how can I get the information or get her set up, or anybody that's listening that want their kids to still be active and getting education throughout the summer while you're on vacation or they're away for the summer and still be learning? How can they get their kids involved?
Well, a great course would be either our family Kanban course that we can tailor to your family's needs and just teach sentence starters and things like that. It's not super drawn out. You can do sessions and problem solve once a week once we do the initial course. Or a great summer course for kids would be our improvement kata, so that they can plan out big goals and start to break them down and work their way towards things. So if your daughter wanted to program her own video game, so what are the steps in doing that? And we help her, she discovers them herself. We're not telling anyone how to do things. We help them discover it themselves. So that's a really fun summer program. But you can find out more information about us and all of the classes that we run at our website, which is the-agile-mind.com. Or you can email both of us. I'm Jessica at the-agile-mind.com. And Roz, her name right there, it's ROS Jackson at the-agile-mind.com.
I'll put the information in the in the box after the podcast and everything. But I love the whole program. I think it's awesome. Like, it sounds like a school could be, in the near future with the two of you.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah. Wow. So you already said how parents can reach out to get that information, and is there
And we're
anything else
happy to
that
jump on Zoom calls or anything. So if you have questions
Exactly.
and you want to talk to someone, you just don't have to, sign up. You can always request time with us. We love talking to people and talking about how great this is. So if you have any questions, please don't ever hesitate. We'll always arrange a meeting, even if it's in the afternoon or the weekends.
Okay. Maybe I can get a group of parents together and we can do a Zoom meeting you can, talk about the product and everything.
Absolutely.
And I just want to thank you, ladies, and thank you for coming on to the Change After 40 podcast. And once again, I'm going to say I appreciate you and all your hard work and dedication with the kids and bringing this new product to education for kids to learn and be, interested in to learn, and just trying to make it easy for everyone.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you for inviting us to share what we're doing. And
I love it.
absolutely.
So if there's anybody listening to the podcast and that's interested, you can find the information in the detail box regarding how you can reach out to either one of these young ladies and or their website and read up the information yourself. And I just think it's an awesome program, and I wish you both the best in the near future and hope everything works out wonderful for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you again for coming on. Have a good one.
You
Bye-bye.
too.
You too.